eyebrow tint can be super beneficial. It can add definition to your face, it can frame your features, and it can even create the look of thicker and fuller eyebrows. But when you get it wrong, it can really detract from your features and become quite unflattering. But don't worry, I've got 5 top tips to share with you so you can achieve perfectly tinted eyebrows. Number 1 is about colour and shade selection. It is so crucial to get the right colour that suits and flatters your features. So first up, you need to understand, are you cool, neutral or warm skin toned? There are 3 methods generally that I like to use to work out if someone's got a warm or a cool skin tone. The first would be to have a look at the veins on the inside of your wrist. So just assess the colour of the veins here. If they are blue and green, then you're going to sit in the warm skin tone. If, however, they are blue and purple, then you're going to be on the cooler side. And if you really can't work it out or you seem to have a mix of shades, then you're probably going to sit in neutral. The second method I like is to work out what jewellery suits you best. So do you look really good in silver jewellery? You're going to be cool toned. If you look really good in gold jewellery, then you're going to be warm toned. And if you look good in both gold and silver, then again, you're going to be neutral. And then the third method that I like is to make sure you're makeup free, stand in front of a mirror, ideally in front of natural lighting, and hold a blank white piece of paper up against your face. Then have a look in the mirror, look really closely, and just assess what are the colours that you can see. If you're seeing pinks and reds within your skin, then you're much more likely to be cool toned. But if you're seeing yellows and golden undertones, then you're going to be warm. Or if, like me, you've got areas of pink and then areas of yellow or golden, you're more likely to be a neutral skin tone. And I usually use all 3 of those methods to kind of give me a really good gauge on where someone sits, warm, cool, or in the middle. My second recommendation when it comes to colour is when you're buying your tints, make sure that you purchase more than just one shade. That way you'll be able to mix something that's really designed to suit and flatter your personal colourings. So for example, if I was doing this for myself, I would look for an ashy tone. I'd probably then also buy a lighter brown or a blonde shade and then another slightly deeper brown, and I would mix those 3 colours together to create a truly tailored colour to suit and flatter my features. Although I sit within a neutral zone, I tend to lean towards the cool tones. For example, I wear more silver jewellery, I probably have slightly more pinker areas than I do yellow and golden. So I'm neutral towards cool. And so I make sure I make up an ashy tint to suit and flatter my colourings. Tip number 2 is all about preparation. Firstly, you want to make sure that you've thoroughly cleansed your eyebrow area. So make sure you've cleaned the skin around your brows as well as your eyebrows themselves. You may not be wearing makeup, but you want to get rid of SPF, moisturisers, pollutants, excess oil that our skin produces. Get rid of it all and make sure you've got a clean surface to work on. Next, make sure you haven't recently used any fake tan products. Fake tan will interact with tint and generally it either turns it green or orange. And in my professional experience, no one has ever asked me for orange or green eyebrows. So make sure you haven't used any fake tan, including gradual tan moisturisers, for at least 3 days. But if you want to be cautious, I would leave it 5. Now, if you're going to be super brave and actually also wax your own eyebrows, you definitely want to do this after you tint. So don't wax your brows before you tint them. And then finally, and most importantly, so maybe I should have mentioned it first, but you want to make sure you patch test. To do a patch test, make up a tiny bit of tint. The colour doesn't matter. You're just checking to see if you have a reaction to the product. So make up the tint and pop it either behind your ear or just on the inside of your elbow and leave it to dry. I would wait a minimum of 48 hours before proceeding with the treatment. And to spot signs of a reaction, you're looking out for redness, itching, little bumps, spots or marks, any signs of an irritation. Tip number 3 is about application method. To make life really easy for yourself, I highly recommend drawing yourself a guideline around your brows. So take either an eyeliner or a brow pencil and just plot out the shape that you want to tint, and that way you'll give yourself a guide. Trust me, once you start tinting, particularly, it doesn't matter whether you're left or right-handed, once you're having to go across your face, you're kind of blocking your own eyesight. So it's just so much easier if you've got a guideline to work to. The second recommendation is to use Vaseline as a barrier. So once you've got your guideline in place, you can take some Vaseline on a cotton bud and just cover the skin just outside of that guideline. This way, if you do accidentally go over the line, it won't matter because the Vaseline will prevent the tint from staining the skin or the vellus hair surrounding your eyebrows. So now let's talk about how you're actually going to apply the tint. I personally choose to use a fine angle brush to apply tint. It's super smooth to apply and it's really quick, and after 10 years experience, I personally find it really easy. However, it might not be the best method to start out with. So if you feel comfortable, then go ahead with a fine angle brush. However, if you don't feel comfortable with the brush, you could try a lip gloss wand applicator. They're really inexpensive to buy, and actually they're quite a handy thing to have in your makeup kit. And this way you can apply and you don't have to be quite as accurate as you probably do with the brush. You can also mix up the tint with them and then just apply straight onto your brows. Finally, if you just want to apply something that you might already have at home, you could use a cotton bud. So again, you can mix up the tint with the cotton bud and then apply straight onto your eyebrows. Tip number 4, and we're now talking about development and removal. So first things first, every single brand is different, so make sure you've read the instructions to work out how long the development time should take. But even still, I'd really recommend keeping a close eye and checking regularly to see how the tint's developing. We all have different porosity with our hair, so some people's hair will take tint much quicker than others. The best and easiest way to do this is just to take a cotton bud. I particularly like the cosmetic round flathead ones, and that will just allow you to take off the very front bulb section. You can see what the colour's looking like, and then you can easily reapply that front section rather than taking off the whole entire brow, taking a look and then realising, nope, it still needs longer, and having to reapply the tint all over again. So just take off a small section, check the colour, and then reapply if needed. For a pro top tip, if you want a very natural finish, take the tint away sooner from the bulbs of your brow and allow the rest of the tint to get a little bit darker. Eyebrows are naturally sparser in this area, so if you remove the tint a little bit earlier, it will give a very natural finish to the brow. To remove the tint, I just recommend using dry cotton pads. But once all the tint's gone, you want to neutralise the product. The reason we neutralise the colour is to prevent it from getting any darker or deepening any further. So for some brands you can just use a damp cotton pad, but with other brands would recommend a tint stain remover just on a dry cotton pad, sweep it over both brows, and that will prevent the colour from getting any darker. Really important step. And finally, aftercare. To get long-lasting results, my first recommendation would be if you use active skincare ingredients such as retinols, lactic acid, glycolic, salicylic, make sure that you're keeping all those actives out of your eyebrow hair. They do tend to have a stripping effect on colour. The second thing that will always cause your brows to fade quicker is sun exposure or exposure to tanning beds. So if you want to get long-lasting results, you can always take sunscreen through your brows, but I would recommend covering with a hat or staying in the shade. Double bonus, it's good for your skin as well. And those are my top professional tips to get a really good eyebrow tint from home. I hope you found that helpful and that you now feel confident to tint your own eyebrows. If you have any questions at all, please pop them in the comments and I will get back to you. And then finally, if you have overplucked, sparse brows and would like thicker, fuller looking eyebrows, you might want to check out this video here where I've got 5 top tips to help you achieve fuller brows. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye. Oh, and enjoy your feature framing eyebrows.